It took me less than 5 minutes into this film to make the decision to stay. Park Chan-wook is one of the greatest working directors and deserves to be a name known beyond just film Twitter and Letterboxd users. You may know him from directing hits like Oldboy and The Handmaiden, but Decision to Leave is his latest neo-noir romantic mystery film that is beginning to get a wide release in theaters. So I don't live in the biggest city in the US. In fact, my city doesn't even rank in the top 50 as far as population goes. When it comes to film festivals, award seasons, and critically acclaimed films that typically get a limited release at first, I'm usually late to the party. I'm lucky if I get to see these films at all in theaters before they hit streaming or on demand. But wouldn't you know it, this weekend I opened up my AMC app. We got Triangle of Sadness, we got Tar, and yes, we have Decision to Leave. The decision of what to watch wasn't hard since I already missed the last showing of the day for Triangle of Sadness, and Tar started an hour after Decision to Leave, and with it being 30 minutes longer than Decision to Leave, I figured it wasn't the best decision to see it that late at night, especially at the end of the weekend with how tired I already was. I just feel like when I see that movie, it deserves a more conscious version of myself that isn't going to be tempted to doze off during that last hour. And that's how I made the decision to watch this film on a Sunday night. In a theater with about 10 dudes that look like different variants of me, all excited that a South Korean film made its way to our local 6-screen AMC theater, and we just sat there as the credits rolled, all just thinking about how we would log this onto our Letterboxd accounts. Here's what IMDb says about the plot of this film. A detective investigating a man's death in the mountains meets the dead man's mysterious wife in the course of his dogged sleuthing. That description is really only the introduction of where this film goes, but essentially we do follow these two characters, the detective and the dead man's mysterious wife. With that setup, this story explores many decisions between these two characters, and it shows the consequences of these decisions, especially how they relate to one another. And I'm aware that that's a very vague and boring description, but like I said, that's really only the setup, and where this movie goes is really fascinating. Why this specific genre of detective drama worked so well for me on this viewing was I think it works on multiple levels. There is a lot beyond the surface level thematically with this movie, and over the past few days, I really had to process several reads of what I think this film might be trying to say. However, I'm also convinced that if you're not one to watch movies this way, the film can also work as a straightforward investigative detective drama. The plot, as it includes many twists and reveals, isn't the most groundbreaking mystery, and I'm sure there are people out there that can probably figure out how it's going to end, but it's solid. And I think it's just as entertaining watching it on that surface level, as well as digging deeper into the ideas that this film seems to present. This film is also very funny. Not always straight comical, but there are definitely several sequences that I thought were laugh out loud funny. But the humor more comes from this dark tone and premise, and works extremely well when the film seems to acknowledge that what is happening on screen is quite ridiculous at times. The script plays well into the mystery element and plays with the audience, providing plenty of on-screen clues that turn out to be red herrings and straight-up gags you don't always see at first. The reveals of the mystery are able to be predicted by the audience, but those clues are buried with many false flags, which make the experience of seeing it all play out that much more enjoyable. It's also worth noting that I do think this film would work better if you did know the original language and didn't just watch it subbed or dubbed. The dialogue is beautiful, and there are many memorable lines that I think would fit very well in a Tumblr post from 2009. But from what I've seen on other reviews and internet comments, it's even more poetic in its original form, and I'm definitely a little bummed out that I can only get a small portion of that artistic expression through English subtitles. The best part of this film, though, without question, is the editing and visual style. You can feel all the passion and creativity, and the way that it is shot tells the story itself. I'm convinced that even if you had no dialogue at all, and all you were left with was the cinematography and the score, this film would still tell a beautiful story. The movement of the camera is so unique, and it isn't even consistent within its specific style, and it tries many different techniques. There's one shot where the camera lowers itself to look up at a character. There's another one where the camera takes the perspective of a cell phone, and you are seeing inside that phone through the text and all. There are so many interesting and bold shots in this film that tells a completely different story that other movies don't always provide. Honestly, there are hardly any hard cuts scene to scene, and every single transition looks like it could have taken hours to complete. You might be looking at a corner and see a little light, and all of a sudden that light turns into the eyeball of a character in the next scene. The camera may focus in on a pool of water and then zoom out, and all of a sudden you're looking at the sun. Once you notice that this is happening, you cannot take your eyes off of it, and you are so excited to see how the scene wraps up and how it transitions into the next one. So yeah, I thought this film was excellent. I always have the bias to rate movies higher when I see them in theaters, so I would recommend that if you want a similar experience like mine, you should definitely go see it in the theater. This film has already won several awards at different ceremonies and festivals, and I'm not going to be surprised at all when it wins a few more. The Decision to Leave, have you seen it? What do you think? Comment below, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you next time.